I should have known that night. The way he looked at him, it wasn't the way friends look at each other. It was softer, warmer, almost hidden, but I saw it. Still, I pretended not to. Because that's what people do when they're afraid to lose what they love. They lie to themselves first. His name was Riku, the boy who once made me believe love could fix anything. We met in college, second year. He was quiet, always sketching in that worn-out notebook of his. I fell for him before I even realized what was happening. It wasn't his looks, though he was beautiful in that effortless way. It was the way he listened. Like he actually cared. I was the opposite of him, loud, expressive, too emotional for my own good. And maybe that's why it worked at first. He grounded me. I brought color into his life. At least, that's what I used to tell myself. Back then, love was easy. We'd sneak into empty classrooms after lectures, talk for hours about stupid dreams. I'd watch him draw, tracing the lines of his fingers instead of the page. He'd smile, that small, quiet smile that made everything else disappear. He was mine, and I was his. Or so I thought. The shift was small. So small I almost missed it. It started one afternoon when I introduced him to my best friend, Noah. Noah had been in my life since high school. Funny, warm, the kind of person who made everyone feel comfortable. He was also painfully honest, which was both his charm and his curse. When Rika met him, something in the air changed. At first, it was nothing, a handshake, a polite smile. But later that day, when we were all having coffee, I caught it. The way Rika's eyes lingered on Noah's face when he laughed. Just for a second. It shouldn't have meant anything. But it did. I brushed it off, telling myself I was being dramatic. But that tiny seed of unease started growing in me, quietly, like a shadow under the skin. The next few weeks felt different. Riku and Noah got along easily, too easily. They shared similar humor, similar tastes. They'd talk about books, art, things I didn't fully understand but pretended to. Sometimes Riku would tell me about a new idea and end it with, "Noah said something interesting about that." Noah said. Noah thought. Noah noticed. His name started living between us, showing up in every sentence, every memory. At first, I laughed it off. "You two sound like you're becoming best friends," I'd joke. Riku would smile softly, eyes flicking away. He's easy to talk to. It was harmless, right? I wanted to believe that. But the way my stomach twisted every time Rika mentioned him, that was jealousy. Raw, quiet, shameful jealousy. One night, the three of us hung out in Noah's dorm. We ordered takeout, played cards, talked until late. It was easy, warm, like old times. But when Noah went to get drinks, I caught Riku watching him leave. His gaze followed Noah's back, soft, almost thoughtful. I tried to laugh it off, pretending I didn't notice. But inside, something cracked. When Noah came back, the mood shifted. They started teasing each other about something. Inside jokes I didn't understand. I laughed along, but I felt invisible. Later, when I left, Rika stayed behind to help Noah clean up. He told me to go ahead, said he'd catch up. That night, I lay awake staring at my phone, waiting for a message that never came. The distance grew slowly, like fog creeping into a room. He started canceling plans. "I have group work," he'd say. "It's with Noah and some others." Of course it was. I told myself I trusted him. But the truth was, I didn't trust them together. I started showing up at random places, the art building, the cafe near campus, hoping to accidentally run into them. Sometimes I did. Once I saw Rika sitting with Noah under the big oak tree, heads close together, laughing quietly. They looked peaceful, in a world I didn't belong to. Rika didn't notice me that day. Or maybe he did, but pretended not to. Either way, I walked away before they saw the tears in my eyes. I began to change without realizing it. I stopped talking as much. Stopped laughing as loudly. When Rika did show up, I found myself scanning his eyes for signs. Was he thinking of Noah when he smiled at me? It was torture, loving someone who was slowly drifting away, but still close enough to touch. Sometimes he'd reach for my hand, his fingers cold. I'd hold them anyway, pretending they still fit the same way they used to. But late at night, when he'd kiss me goodnight and walk away, I could feel the emptiness in the space he left behind. Then came the night that broke me. It was raining hard. The kind of night when everything feels heavier. I was supposed to meet Riku for dinner, but he texted, "Can't make it." Helping Noah with his project. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I typed, "It's okay." It wasn't. For hours, I walked through the rain without an umbrella, my shoes soaked, my thoughts louder than the thunder. Finally, I couldn't take it. I went to the art building. His studio light was still on. I walked closer, heart pounding. Through the window, I saw them. Rika sitting beside Noah, leaning close to show him something on the sketchbook. Noah's hand rested lightly on Rika's arm. It was innocent, probably, but the look on Rika's face wasn't. It was gentle, unguarded, the kind of look he used to give me. My chest hurt so much I could barely breathe. I didn't confront him. I just turned and walked away, quietly, like a ghost leaving its own life behind. That night, Rika called. He asked if I was okay. His voice was calm, casual, as if nothing had changed. I wanted to tell him everything I felt, the jealousy, the pain, the fear, but when I opened my mouth, the words got stuck. Instead, I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." He paused. "You sure?" I swallowed hard. "Yeah." He didn't notice the crack in my voice. Or maybe he did, but chose not to. After the call, I stared at my reflection in the mirror. My eyes looked tired, older. I barely recognized myself. I whispered to the empty room, "You're losing him." And for the first time, I said it out loud. Days passed. We still saw each other, but it wasn't the same. Riku had become someone distant, polite, careful. He'd smile, but the warmth wasn't there. And Noah, he started acting strange too. Quieter when Riku was around me. Almost guilty. Sometimes I'd catch him glancing at me with this look. Pity, maybe? Or regret? I couldn't tell. It made me feel like everyone knew something I didn't. One evening, we were all at the cafe near campus. It was noisy, full of students. Noah was telling a story, something about a failed exam, and Rika laughed, really laughed. That sound used to belong to me. I sat there, smiling, my hands trembling under the table. Then Noah reached over to wipe cream off Rika's cheek. It was nothing, just a quick touch. But Rika froze. His eyes met Noah's, and in that split second, the air between them changed. I saw it. Everyone else probably didn't. But I did. I forced a laugh, pretending not to notice, but my throat burned. After that, I couldn't take it anymore. I excused myself and went to the restroom. When I came back, they were sitting closer, whispering. My heart broke quietly in public that day. That night, I walked home alone. I didn't cry. Not yet. Instead, I kept hearing my own heartbeat in my ears, slow, heavy, painful. I started remembering the first time Riku said he loved me. We were sitting by the river, the sky painted orange. He held my hand and said, "Don't ever doubt that I'm yours." But people lie without meaning to. Sometimes promises break without a sound. And I think that's the worst kind of heartbreak, the one that happens silently while you're still pretending to be okay. A week later, it was Noah's birthday. He invited both of us, of course. I almost didn't go. But Rika said, "You should come. He'd want you there." So I did. When I arrived, the apartment was full of laughter and music. Rika was already there, sitting beside Noah, helping him open a gift. The sight hit me like a punch. I smiled anyway, pretending it didn't hurt. As the night went on, everyone drank and joked, but I couldn't focus. My eyes kept drifting toward them. How naturally they moved together, how comfortable they looked. When Noah leaned on Rika's shoulder laughing, something inside me shattered completely. I slipped out to the balcony, needing air. The city lights blurred through the tears I'd been holding back. The sliding door opened behind me. It was Noah. He stood next to me quietly for a moment. Then he said, "You've been quiet tonight." "Yeah," I whispered. "Just tired." He looked at me, really looked at me. "You really love him, don't you?" I froze. "What do you mean?" He smiled sadly. "Riku, the way you look at him. It's obvious." I wanted to ask why he was saying that, but before I could, he continued softly. "You're lucky, you know, to be loved like that." "Loved?" I repeated, the word tasting bitter. He turned his gaze toward the lights. "Yeah, I wish someone would look at me the way he looks at you." My chest tightened. "What are you talking about?" Noah didn't answer. He just gave me this sad, broken smile, like he was apologizing for something, and went back inside. And for the rest of the night, I couldn't shake his words. "He looks at you the way I wish someone would look at me." It didn't make sense, because Rika didn't look at me that way anymore. He looked at him. When the party ended, Riku offered to walk me home. We didn't talk much. The air between us was heavy. At my door, I finally asked, "Riku, are you happy?" He looked at me like the question scared him. "I don't know," he said softly. I swallowed the pain rising in my throat. "Do you still love me?" He didn't answer, just looked away. That silence said everything. He finally whispered, "You're tired. Get some rest." Then he left. And that night, I cried until I couldn't breathe. I didn't know it then, but that was the moment I started losing both of them. Rika, my love. Noah, my best friend. And I could feel something dark forming in the quiet between us, a truth I wasn't ready to face. But deep down I knew. I was about to learn that not every betrayal comes with lies or cheating. Some come wrapped in silence, in the spaces between what's said and what's left unsaid. And that silence, it was already tearing me apart. I didn't plan to see them. I swear I didn't. But that's the thing about truth. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It just finds you, even when all you want is to stay blind. The morning after Noah's birthday, everything felt wrong. I woke up with a headache that wasn't from drinking. It was from thinking. My phone buzzed. A message from Riku. "Morning. Hope you got home safe." Just that. Short. Cold. It used to be "Good morning, my love." Now it was just "morning." I typed back, "Yeah. Thanks." No heart emoji. No warmth. When I hit send, I stared at the screen for a long time. 3 little dots appeared. He was typing. Then they disappeared. He didn't reply. The day dragged on. I went to class, smiled when people talked to me, laughed at jokes I didn't hear. But my mind was somewhere else, stuck on that silence. After lectures, I went to the campus cafe, the same one where the 3 of us used to sit together. This time I sat alone. I kept wondering if Riku and Noah were together again. If they were laughing. If Rika looked at him with that same soft smile I used to wake up to. I hated myself for thinking that way, but I couldn't stop. That evening, Rika texted me. "Can you come over? Need to talk." My stomach dropped. Those words, "need to talk," they never meant anything good. Still, I went. His dorm smelled like coffee and rain. He was sitting at his desk, sketchbook open, pencil in hand, but his eyes were distant. When he looked up, he smiled faintly. Hey, I whispered back. He gestured for me to sit. I did, pretending not to notice that he'd cleared away the photos on his wall. The ones that used to be of us. "I've been thinking," he said slowly. "About us." My hands went cold. "What about us?" He sighed. "We've both been busy. Stressed. Maybe we just need space." Space. That word again. Space, I repeated, my voice barely there. Or distance. He looked down, avoiding my eyes. "Don't do that, Haru." "Do what?" "Make it sound like I don't care." I laughed, quiet broken. "Do you?" He didn't answer right away. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft. "I don't want to hurt you." That was worse than anything he could have said. Because people only say that when they already are. When I left his room, my chest felt hollow. The hallway lights flickered as I walked. Every step echoed like something ending. Outside, it started raining again, as if the sky was mocking me. I didn't even open my umbrella this time. The next few days blurred together. We didn't talk much. He didn't call. Noah didn't either. I told myself I'd focus on school, on work, on anything that wasn't them. But everything reminded me. Every hallway, every coffee cup, every small piece of my routine was stained with their names. Sometimes I caught glimpses of them around campus. Rika walking beside Noah, their heads bent close in conversation. They didn't see me. Or maybe they did, but didn't care. Each time, it felt like someone was slicing open the same wound all over again. One afternoon, I ran into Noah outside the library. He looked startled when he saw me. "Hey," he said softly. "Long time." I forced a smile. "Yeah." We stood there in awkward silence. He looked tired. Guilt hung around him like a shadow. Finally, I asked, "Are you avoiding me?" His eyes widened. "What?" "No. You are," I said quietly. "And so is he." Noah exhaled, rubbing the back of his neck. "Haru, it's not what you think." "Then what is it?" I asked. "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like I'm losing both of you." He didn't answer. He just looked at me with this expression, like he wanted to say something but couldn't. Then he whispered, "I'm sorry." "For what?" He opened his mouth, then closed it again. "Forget it," he said quickly. "Just take care of yourself, okay?" And then he walked away before I could stop him. That night, I couldn't sleep. The word sorry kept looping in my head. Sorry for what? I stared at my phone for hours, waiting for a message that wouldn't come. At 2 a.m., I finally gave up and opened social media. Rika's profile was quiet, nothing new. But Noah's story popped up. It was a picture. 2 coffee cups on a table. one sketchbook, and a hand holding a pencil, Rika's hand. I knew that hand anywhere. My stomach twisted. I zoomed in, hoping I was wrong. But I wasn't. He was with him. At 2 a.m. I threw my phone aside and covered my face, shaking. Not crying. Just empty. The next day, I went to Rika's dorm. I told myself I wasn't going to argue. I just needed the truth. The door was unlocked. He wasn't there, but his laptop was open. I don't know what made me do it. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe madness. But I sat down and looked at the screen. And that's when I saw it. The messages. The chat was open. Riku and Noah. My heart started pounding so loud I could barely hear anything else. I shouldn't have read them. But I did. Noah, you shouldn't say things like that. Riku, I mean it. Noah, Haru doesn't deserve this. Riku, I know. But I can't help how I feel. My vision blurred. My hands shook. Noah, if he finds out. Riku, he won't. I promise. That word, promise, felt like poison. Because that's what he used to say to me. Promise. A word that meant nothing now. I closed the laptop quietly and left before I could break something. Outside, the world felt too bright. Too normal. I walked until my legs gave out and I sat by the river. The same place where Riku had once told me he loved me. Now I finally understood what Noah had meant that night on the balcony. I wish someone would look at me the way he looks at you. Because he already had. Rika looked at him like that. And Noah had been drowning in guilt ever since. I didn't go home that night. I stayed by the river until morning, numb. When my phone buzzed, I didn't need to check to know who it was. Where are you? I'm worried. Riku. I stared at the message, fingers trembling. Then another one came. Please talk to me. I typed back. Why? So you can tell me more lies. He replied almost instantly. What are you talking about? I didn't answer. I didn't need to. He'd know soon enough. That evening, Rika came to my dorm. He looked exhausted, dark circles, messy hair. Haru, he said, voice low. What's going on? I laughed quietly. You tell me. He frowned. I don't understand. Really? I stepped closer. Then tell me why you're messaging Noah at 2 a.m. saying you can't help how you feel. He froze. His eyes went wide, mouth opening slightly, then closing again. You went through my laptop? He finally asked, his voice breaking a little. That's all you care about? I snapped. That I found out. Not that you were. I stopped, swallowing hard. That you were falling for him. Rika's jaw clenched. He looked away. That silence, it was my answer. I laughed bitterly. You know, I used to think the worst kind of betrayal was cheating. But it's not. It's when someone stops choosing you without saying a word. Haru, he began. Don't, I whispered. Just don't. He took a step forward. It's not what you think. Then what is it? He didn't answer. I turned away, blinking hard to keep the tears from falling. You know what hurts most? You didn't even fight for me. When I finally looked back, he was gone. The door was still swinging. For days, I felt like a ghost. I stopped going to class. Stopped eating. People asked what was wrong, and I smiled, said I was fine. But inside, everything was collapsing. Noah tried to call. I ignored him. Then one evening, he came to my door. Haru, please. We need to talk. I opened it, barely looking at him. What do you want? His eyes were red, like he'd been crying. I never meant for this to happen. I laughed, bitter and tired. You didn't mean to fall in love with my boyfriend? He winced. It wasn't like that. Then tell me what it was, Noah. I shouted. Because from where I'm standing, you both look guilty as hell. He didn't move. His voice cracked when he said, he came to me. I tried to stop it. My breath hitched. Stop what? His silence was my answer. I took a step back, shaking my head. You were supposed to be my best friend. I still am, he whispered. No, I said. You're just the one who helped him forget me. He looked like he wanted to say something else, but I slammed the door before he could. That night, I broke down completely. I tore the pictures off my wall. Every photo, every note. The sound of paper ripping echoed through the room like screams I couldn't let out. When I was done, I sat on the floor surrounded by memories that no longer meant anything. I picked up one photo, the three of us smiling at the cafe. Back when everything still felt safe. I stared at Rika's arm around my shoulder, Noah's grin, and thought, maybe I was the fool all along. Maybe I was just the bridge that brought them together. The next day, I went to return Rika's hoodie. He wasn't there, but Noah was. He looked startled to see me. Haru. I tossed the hoodie at him. Give it to him. He grabbed my wrist before I could leave. Please. Just listen. I pulled away. Why? So you can tell me more half-truths? He swallowed hard. He still loves you. I laughed coldly. No, Noah. He loves you. You just don't want to admit it. Tears filled his eyes. If I could trade places with you, I would. Then why didn't you stop him? I asked, my voice breaking. Why did you let it happen? He opened his mouth, but before he could answer, Rika's voice came from behind. Haru. I turned. He was standing in the doorway, eyes wide, hurt all over his face. What are you doing here? He asked softly. Returning what's yours, I said, my voice trembling. And maybe giving you what you've already taken. He took a step forward, panic in his eyes. It's not what you think. Stop saying that. I yelled. You think I'm stupid? You think I didn't see how you look at him? He looked at Noah helplessly, then back at me. Haru, I never wanted to hurt you. But you did, I whispered. Tears spilled before I could stop them. And then I left again. But this time I didn't look back. It's strange, the things you remember after everything falls apart. The sound of their laughter. The smell of rain on his jacket. The way his voice softened when he said my name. I still hear it sometimes, like a ghost haunting the edges of my mind. I used to think love could survive anything. Now I know it can die quietly without a fight. But deep down, I still wanted to believe there was more to it. That maybe I didn't know the whole story. And I was right, because a week later, I found out the truth was darker than I ever imagined. I didn't hear from either of them for a week. Not a text. Not a call. Nothing. And maybe that was good. Maybe silence was what I needed to heal. But it didn't feel like healing. It felt like drowning slowly, with no one noticing. I went through my days like a ghost. I went to class. Sat in the same seat. Answered when my name was called. But inside, I was gone. At night, I'd lie awake and replay everything. Every word. Every look. Every lie. I thought if I analyzed it enough, maybe I'd find the moment it all broke. The moment he stopped loving me. But it was useless. Because sometimes love doesn't die all at once. It just fades quietly, until one day you wake up and realize you're the only one still holding on. One rainy afternoon, someone knocked on my door. I didn't answer at first. But the knocking didn't stop. Haru, a voice said softly. It's me. It was Riku. For a moment, I thought about pretending I wasn't home. But something in his voice, that trembling, desperate sound, made me open the door. He looked awful. Dark circles, messy hair, soaked from the rain. He was holding something, a small envelope. We need to talk, he said. I wanted to slam the door. But I didn't. Instead, I stepped aside and let him in. He stood in the middle of my room, dripping water onto the floor. The silence stretched between us until I finally said, What do you want, Riku? He took a deep breath. You deserve to know the truth. I crossed my arms. You mean the truth about you and Noah? His eyes flickered. It's not what you think. I laughed, but it came out sharp and broken. You've said that so many times, I could make it my ringtone. Haru, please, he said quietly. Just listen. I didn't want to. But my heart, the stupid, loyal thing that still beat for him, told me to. He sat down and ran a hand through his wet hair. I didn't fall for Noah, he began. He came to me. He was worried about you. I frowned. Worried? About what? Rika hesitated. His voice was soft when he finally spoke. About your health. My health. I repeated, confused. He nodded slowly. The night you fainted after exams, you said it was nothing. But Noah told me he found you at the studio, passed out. You didn't tell anyone. My chest tightened. I remembered that day. The exhaustion, the skipped meals, the sleepless nights. I'd hidden it. I didn't want anyone to worry. You were pushing yourself too hard, Rika said. Noah made me promise to keep an eye on you. That doesn't explain the messages, I said coldly. He sighed. We were talking about you, Haru. About how to help you without making you feel small. I swear, that's all it was at first. At first? I repeated. He looked down. Then I started talking to him more. About other things. About my art, my insecurities, the things I couldn't say to you because I didn't want you to see how weak I was. So you told him instead? I whispered. His silence was an answer. I thought he understood me, Rika said quietly. But then I realized he wasn't just listening. He was falling. My heart sank. And you let him. I tried not to, he said. I told him it was wrong. That you were my everything. But every time we talked, it got harder to ignore. He reminded me of you, The way you used to look at me when we first met. The way you used to believe in me. I swallowed hard. Used to. Rika flinched. You changed too, Haru. You started closing off. I thought you didn't need me anymore. That's not true, I said, my voice shaking. I was just tired. I was trying to be enough for both of us. His eyes softened. I know that now. He reached into his pocket and handed me the envelope. What's this? I asked. Something I should have given you a long time ago. I opened it. Inside was a small folded letter. The paper was smudged from rain, but I could still read the words, written in Rika's messy handwriting. I love you, Haru, but I can't keep hurting you like this. I'm leaving for a while. Don't look for me. Just live. I looked up, heart pounding. You're leaving? He nodded. The art program in Tokyo accepted me. I was going to tell you before, but after everything, I didn't know how. Tokyo, I whispered. You're just running away? I'm giving you space to heal, he said quietly. And maybe giving myself a chance to remember who I am without all this guilt. I laughed bitterly. So you break my heart, then disappear? That's your idea of healing. He stepped closer, eyes glistening. Haru, please don't make this harder. Harder. I snapped. You think this is about you leaving? No, Riku. This is about you choosing him over me, then acting like you're the victim. He shook his head. It's not like that. Then tell me what it's like. I shouted. Tell me why every time I close my eyes, I see you and him together. His voice cracked when he said, because you were never supposed to find out. That silence, heavy, sharp, final, settled between us. I turned away, tears burning my eyes. You should go. He didn't move. Haru, look at me. I didn't. I couldn't. He took a step forward, close enough that I could feel the warmth of his body behind me. Even after everything, he whispered, I never stopped loving you. My chest hurt. I wanted to believe him so badly. But belief felt dangerous now. Then why does it feel like you did? I whispered back. He didn't answer. He just stood there, silent, until the sound of my sobs filled the room. When I finally turned around, he was gone. The envelope lay on the floor, soaked with my tears. Days passed again. The ache dulled, but it never left. I thought maybe that was the end, that Rika would leave for Tokyo and I'd just move on. But then Noah showed up. He looked nervous when I opened the door. Haru, he said softly. We need to talk. I almost laughed. That's everyone's favorite phrase lately. He took a deep breath. It's about Riku. I don't care, I lied. Yes, you do, he said, voice trembling. Because you don't know everything. Something in his tone made my stomach twist. What do you mean? Noah hesitated, then stepped closer. He wasn't lying when he said he's leaving because of you. But it's not just guilt. He's sick, Haru. My world froze. Sick? Noah nodded, eyes glistening. He found out 2 months ago. His lungs. The doctor said there's a condition. It's serious. I stared at him, not breathing. You're lying, I whispered. I wish I was, he said. He didn't want you to know. He thought you'd stay out of pity. That's why he started pulling away. My knees went weak. That's why he was always coughing and tired. Noah nodded. He told me not to tell you. But I can't keep it anymore. I sank to the floor, shaking. He was dying, and he still tried to protect me? Noah knelt beside me. He loves you more than he can say, Haru. That's why he pushed you away. Not because of me. Because he wanted you to be free when he couldn't be. I covered my face, sobbing. Everything, all the anger, all the pain, came crashing down in a wave of guilt so heavy I could barely breathe. The next morning, I went to Rika's dorm. It was empty. The bed stripped, the walls bare. A note was taped to the door. Haru, don't follow me. Live your life. I'll always be proud of you. I tore it down and held it to my chest, trembling. A week later, I found myself at the train station. I don't even remember how I got there. The platform was crowded, the air thick with rain. Then I saw him. Riku. Standing near the edge, suitcase beside him, sketchbook in hand. He looked thinner. Pale. But still so heartbreakingly familiar. I called his name before I could stop myself. He turned, and when our eyes met, everything stopped. Haru, he breathed. I walked up to him, shaking. Why didn't you tell me? He looked away. Because I didn't want you to remember me like this. I grabbed his hand. I don't care. You don't get to decide how I remember you. He smiled faintly, tears glistening in his eyes. You always were stubborn. Then let me be stubborn for you, I said. Don't go. He brushed a tear from my cheek. You'll hate me if you stay. I already hate you, I whispered. For leaving without saying goodbye. He laughed quietly, a broken sound. Then let that hate keep you alive. The announcement blared. His train was arriving. I held his hand tighter. Rika, please. He leaned forward and pressed his forehead against mine. I love you, he whispered. But I need you to let me go. I shook my head, tears falling freely now. No, not again. He smiled sadly, then kissed me, soft, desperate final. And then he stepped onto the train before I could stop him. The doors closed. The train started to move. I ran alongside it, shouting his name, until it disappeared into the fog. And that was the moment I finally broke. It's been 2 months now. No messages. No calls. Just silence. Sometimes I dream of that night, his voice, the kiss, the way he looked back one last time. I still don't know if he made it to Tokyo. Noah doesn't either. We've both tried calling. No response. It's like he vanished. Maybe he did. Maybe some loves are meant to burn bright and vanish before they turn to ashes. But sometimes late at night, I still get messages from an unknown number. No name. No profile. Just words. Keep painting. Eat something, idiot. I'm still watching the stars. And the last one, the one that made me break again. I'm proud of you, Haru.